Hi everybody, this is Avram Chaptik from the Jewish Learning Exchange. I hope you and yours are well. We have in mind, of course, always the hostages in Gaza and the soldiers fighting on all the fronts, and may the Almighty protect all the Jews around the world. This is Torah portion is Parshat Vayeira. In it, there are many fascinating things. God appears to Avraham, who's recuperating from being circumcised at age 99. And God is doing Bikur Cholim, visiting the sick. Also in the Parsha is Avram wanting guests, and 3 angels dressed as people come, each with their own task, and Avram runs to invite them into his home and takes good care of them. Later on in the Parsha, Yitzchak is born, and toward the end of the portion is where God tests Avram if he would bring Yitzchak up as a sacrifice. Question we need to ask about one aspect is God came to visit Avraham, and we find that God did not heal him, because one of the tasks of the angels that came right afterwards was to heal Avraham. Why didn't God heal him? So I'd like to suggest something related to 2 other parts of the parsha. We make a very big deal about Avram's hachnasas archim, that he had guests, invited all the people, and the classical example is this week's portion. He had 3 angels dressed as people, and he took them in, and he wined and dined them and took care of them. But in fact, they were angels. They didn't eat any food. We also make a big deal out of Avram bringing up his son Yitzchak as a sacrifice. And guess what? In the end, spoiler alert, the angel told him, God told him not to do it. Don't. And he ended up bringing a ram instead. It's one of the reasons why we blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. So it seems to be interesting that the examples that we have in the portion are people who really did things but didn't need to. The angels didn't really need the food, and Avram ultimately did not have to sacrifice his son. He brought him up on the altar, did what he needed to do, till at the last moment he was told to stop. And I think the lesson for us is a powerful one. God wants us to do the best we can. He wants us to try. That's all he cares about. Success, that's up to God. But we have to try our best. And if we try our best, that's a home run. That God counts as being great. That's fantastic. And our effort is what really counts. Going the extra mile to do the right thing and to follow God's will. And maybe that's why God did not heal Avraham when he came to visit him. Because God didn't want people to think, oh, when you visit the sick, when you can go and heal them. Visiting the sick means showing them you care, helping them if you can, giving them a little company. You're there for them, not for yourself, and not to heal them even. If you can heal them, great. But if you can't, that's okay, because God himself came not to heal Avraham, sent an angel a little bit after that to do the healing, to teach us the important lesson of doing the right thing, even if it seems inconsequential. Avram had the guest. They were angels. They didn't need the food. Avram went to bring Yitzchak up as an offering. He didn't slaughter him at the end. God came to heal Avram? No, he just came to visit him, to teach us the importance of making an effort to do what we can to help others. There's a beautiful story about a young boy who was brought with his class to the great Rabbi Aaron Leib Steinman, a very holy scholar, Torah scholar, and Rosh Yeshiva, Dean of Yeshiva. And the boy was a weak student, and Rabbi Aaron Leib asked him different questions as he asked the other boys in the class, and the other boys answered. And this boy, unfortunately, didn't know his material well, and Rabbi Aaron Leib tried to find easy questions to ask, and he didn't answer any of them. And at the end, Rabbi Aaron Leib gave a candy to each one of the boys, and to this boy, who didn't answer any, he gave 3. And the boy said, why am I getting 3? I didn't answer any of the questions correctly. He says, because you thought about 3 different answers. You didn't have an answer, but they only thought about 1 answer, but you thought about 3, and therefore you get 3 treats. And this impacted the boy many, many years later when he strayed off the path. But he remembered the sweetness of Rabbi Aaron Leib and how Rabbi Aaron Leib rewarded him not for the right answer, but for attempting to do the right thing and attempting to answer. So may we be inspired in this week's Torah portion to realize that greatness is not necessarily accomplishing great things. We should strive for that, but that's not the goal. The goal is for us to do the best we can. And as it says in Pirkei Avos, Lo yalecha hamlacha ligmar. It's not our job, our task to finish the job. That's really up to God. But we have to make our best effort, give 110% to try to do the right thing. And if it works out, great, fantastic. If it doesn't, God understands that as long as we're making our best effort. May we be so inspired to make our best effort, and may the Almighty count that as great success in heaven and reward us with the final redemption soon in our days. Have a wonderful Shabbos.